It's time for another lesson. We are going to tune up Hush Money. This is from about 2 weeks ago, where I'm going in and just starting to learn her and transition from one style to my style. So you guys are going to see some really old school techniques that I'm going to use here, slowing down before the barrel, tipping the hips in. I'm going to reach back in my bag of tricks from the early 2000s, late 90s, to kind of transition back and forth between two styles and try to figure out exactly how she and I can communicate. Now, this is especially a good lesson if you've got a horse that's not really listening to your rate points, and you are having to do a lot of pulling. You're really going to want to watch this closely, especially if you have a horse that's a little bit hot, where you feel like, I just don't know what to do. The length of this lesson is the exact length of the video. And remember, I mean, it's 3 minutes working this mare, and that's exactly how long I stayed on her back. One, we want her to gain a lot of weight, and two, she's fractious. So, all right, let's get into it. This is nervous horse tuning, but also a horse that if you pull on her, she gets a little bit further away from the barrel. So I wanted to show you guys kind of what it is that I wanted to do with her. So I want you to go back and see. It's been a long time since I've stopped a horse at a barrel because remember, I didn't train this mare. I had someone else train her. And so what we've got to deal with is like getting her back into my style. Now, the trainer did a great job. So now we've got to adapt her back to, I'm not going to quite give you the same signals. So we've got to kind of adapt and figure each other out just a little bit. So you see a lot of head shaking. You see a lot of her fighting just a little bit, a lot of chomping. But what I'm wanting her to do, kind of like the flattening out lesson, is just carry her shoulder through the barrel without needing a lot of pulling. So that's what I'm looking for. You guys see her really, really fighting. You guys are going to see this evolve over time of her starting to relax. But this is where we're at right now. The big deal with a horse like this is just don't get in their way. If they want to make a run for you, let them make a run. If they want to quiet down a little bit, let them quiet down in that moment, and just kind of get their bearings. Let them take a breath. You see here, she's calmed down quite a bit. Now we're going to head back to the barrel. I'm going to give her a big signal that I really want her to slow down. Let's go back and watch that again in slow motion. See how my hips right here are out of the saddle? With my hips out of the saddle, my next move is going to be, I'm going to smack my hips down. And I want you guys to see why I make that such a big move. Now, I do not advise everyone do this all the time because you could sore up your horse's back. But in the beginning, this is what you're going to want. You're going to see the booty go up, and you're going to see the booty smack down. And the reason that I want to do this is so that she understands later on that when I boop in the saddle, that means I want you to slow down a gear and turn. That was absolutely gorgeous. She's still staying very, very round. Because of her staying round, it's going to be really hard for her to understand to bring her shoulder through. So that's something we're going to work with, and you're going to see me not asking her to be super round and just asking her to get where she needs to get. So again, I'm going to raise my hips, which you can barely see, and then lower my booty back down. Let me show you again because it's a little tricky to see. Booty goes up. Let me slow it down. Booty goes up and booty goes down. And you can see it's just this very subtle thing. That's how you get these Lisa Lockhart kind of horses where they're like, oh, she's not even doing anything. The horse is just doing it all on its own. So here you see her getting really, really nervous. The best thing you can do is sit back on your butt bones and ask that horse to slow down and just hold them. I'm going to go ahead and let her make a run for me because I believe that she thinks that if she can do that, that she's really done something. So again, we're just letting her cruise through. I am not going to correct her for those hip barrels. Those were absolutely gorgeous, and you can't hear me yelling on the way home, this is the horse I should be running. But that is exactly what crossed my mind right there. My initial plan for this horse was to give her 2 months off, a month off, what have you. I'm finding that as we increase calories, just like always happens, the more that we are increasing calories, the more that she is increasing energy, which always needs to come into play. So now I thought it would benefit her a lot to have a big span of time off, where now I'm finding she's very much like her mother and she is going stir crazy. So I'm not doing any extensive training, no loping circles, no conditioning, and only slow walking either on the lunge line or outside on the walker just to keep her calories up and just barely burn off a little bit of the excess so that she stays sane. And then I'm taking her to events because she is a finished barrel horse. So that is my routine with a horse that is very fractious, that I'm still trying to make progress on. I hope you guys love this lesson.